I'm about to live stream it right now. There we go. What's up, Don? How you doing, man?
How you feeling, man?
Good, man. It's always good to see the number 2 up here with me, Don. Just ready to go for the show. I'm feeling good, man. It's a good Wednesday, and it's all good,
I'm
man.
about to live stream it right now.
I can't believe it's
All you do with your doll, whatever doll it is, it's literally just drag and drop. You can drag one of these.
Hold on, man. I don't know why they did that, man. They never do that to me, man. I just had it. It usually comes on like it usually comes on and it doesn't do anything. But today it gave me sound. You know what I mean? I thought I had that checked, but it's all good. It's all good. How you been, brother?
I'm chilling, man. How about yourself, man? How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. You know, everything's good. We just had some technical difficulties, but the subject today is land ownership. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to talk about that, man. Land ownership is important to me, man. Look, I got my own little house, you know what I'm saying? I got a house in the hood. I love it too, man, because I don't have to, you know, my taxes ain't high. You know what I mean?
Right.
The amount that I pay for my house is very nice. Very nice. It's low. You know what I'm saying? It's very low. And I'm very happy because I wasn't stupid.
They are trying to gentrify your neighborhood, though.
They aren't trying. They are gentrifying my neighborhood, man. Look, man, there was no homeless around like that. And now there's tents around. As soon as they started building around here, the tents started coming. And all of a sudden, there's all these homeless around here. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, people been trying to buy my house. My house, you know, it's a nice little house. They're trying to buy it now. I get things in the mail all the time. I had to take a picture of my house and make a postcard of it and give it to me in the mailbox, talking about, I want to buy your house. I said, damn, yo. That was good though.
But that's how you know something big is coming, man.
That's how you know something big is coming. When strangers just ask about, can I buy your house? You know what I'm saying?
They probably trying to tear their whole block down and turn it into like a condo or some shit like that, man. I would not be surprised, man.
I work for the state, right? And when I saw I had to put the permit through for the building down the street that they were building, the U-Haul, and I was up and running, and it's beautiful, man. It's one of the better U-Hauls I've never seen a U-Haul look like this, yo. It's really nice. It's really nice. Because they're getting ready for everyone who's going to be moving and having to put their stuff somewhere. You know what I mean? They're getting ready for the people moving in and the people moving out.
They're getting ready to start selling $1,200, 500 square foot apartments and shit.
You know how they go, man. There's an apartment complex they're building up the street. You know what I mean? It is big. It's big.
All the city blocks, man.
It's big as hell.
Damn, for real?
2 city blocks and
at least
city block back deep.
At least.
Damn.
At least, brother. And I'm like, you know what? I'm trying to be the man, but it's all good. It's all good. Rob just let me know he's about to get on. You know what I mean? But it's all good. I can't believe how much it's going to come up now. Look, that building's up now. There were 2 other buildings that I turned around. Look, I was, you know how I like to barbecue, man. When I was barbecuing one day, I turned around. All of a sudden, there's a big ass building across the street. I was like, what the fuck is that? I said, I missed that this whole time, y'all. They threw that thing up so fast, man. I'm sure there's people in it, man. It's gonna. I love living in this house, man. The reason why I bought this because I knew this area was coming up.
Up and coming, man. Up and coming, yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna be right in one of them buildings when this thing start to go off, because it's gonna be on.
But you see what they're doing, you know what I mean? They putting all the drug addicts in that area to make the property.
You know what I'm saying?
They
There's a
buy
lot
everything.
of abandoned properties around here. There's like a lot of abandoned properties around here. And let me tell you, as soon as they thought that they could get it, the homeless came in. They shipped them in here. Andre saw them driving them in here. You know what I'm saying? I was
They
like,
put them in a van. Man, when I was working, I used to see them drop them out of a van, and they would drop like 8 of them out of a van, and they would just come in around the neighborhood and just be panhandling and getting high. And they would pick them back up in a van.
but see, here's the thing: people was already getting high in my area. Getting high ain't no new thing around here. You ain't scared of nobody,
but not even closer to these levels. Not even close to the levels that are there now. No.
Yeah,
I see videos, man. It's a guy on YouTube called Hood Tours. He goes around Kensington, Kincessant, all them places, man, and it shows you the droves of people that's slumped.
Yeah,
all up in the Philadelphia area. He goes everywhere in Philadelphia, all the hoods, man. He just
and they're using those people. Well, they're using those people because most of those people don't live in Philly.
They don't even live in the state. Some don't even live in the state, yo. Well, a lot of these people are from out of state.
Man, you see all the trash all up and down Market Street. Like, that shit is just crazy, man.
Oh, you got them in the areas.
They're doing it on purpose because they want the housing to go down so they can hurry up and buy it, and then when the next mayor come in and they tell them that it's all bought up, he's going to kick out all the homeless. That's what they're going to do. That's the plan.
Yeah,
in fact, they're going to kick them out. What they're going to, you know what they're going to?
Yeah.
They're going to build shelters for them. You know what I'm saying? They're going to get the people who live here to build shelters for them. And the shelters will probably be on the edge of the city, like 69th and Woodland and shit like that. You know, there's already one that used to be there. I don't know if it's still there, but they're going to take advantage. They're going to find a use for those dope fiends, y'all. I'm telling you right now. That's how it is. That's what they always do.
Different parts of the city. What they're going to do is where the L is, which goes through the whole city. They're just going to keep on just pushing farther and farther up. Remember, they was around Girard, and then they kicked them out there, bought all that stuff real cheap. And now it's like a yuppie spot, and it's like average property down there, $300,000 to $500,000. You know what I mean? Some of them are $1 million. You know what I mean? They just going up the L, trying to get rid of all the groups. You know what I mean? And that's it. And just get them on. And so, because that's what
that's my mom's boyfriend, my mom's ex-boyfriend. He had a spot close to Drexel University. And they kept buying. Like, his parents lived there for years, so he inherited, of course. And they kept on offering him double, triple, whatever it was. But his whole block was being used for housing for the students.
Right.
Like, on each side of his house, was damn near a frat party almost every damn weekend, man.
That's how they get rid of
they took the houses and they knocked down the walls and made them bigger and turned them into like little apartments or whatever, or what do you call them? Efficiencies or whatever. Yeah, it's crazy. It was crazy, man. Like, Drexel was trying to buy all up Woodland Avenue. Like, Woodland Avenue, all up there, man. He was trying to buy everything, man.
And like, what's wild is this isn't the only. They're trying this in all the cities, y'all. They're trying this in all the cities. This isn't an individual city type of thing. This is like a federal government type of thing. Because
for years,
I remember seeing like San Francisco. If you look at places like San Francisco, they took advantage of their area, and started building like buildings that never existed in America. Like, they got buildings with parks on top of the building.
I've seen those before. Yeah.
And people, you can go and walk between the parks. They can walk from one building to it. They got a bridge with it's like a park. And they took old railroads and instead of like just demolishing them, they kept the railroad and they built on top of the railroad. So now you're just walking along the rails, but everything got grass on it. They got seats where you can sit and look off the bridge of the brook. It's the
nostalgia of it, man. Make it look nostalgic. Some people like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
They're trying to make it so that it's a hardcore tourist country. You know what I'm saying? And that brings a lot of money, because people in America will tour. people will drive to Philadelphia. There's a place in Philadelphia over on 30th Street where you can go in, climb up to a roof, not to the roof. It's like it's these two buildings, right? These two buildings, and there's one side of the building that goes straight up, and it has another section like this, and the other buildings on the other side. And on that section, it's all like made for like a standing and walking area. It's very pretty, and it has grass, real grass. You know what I'm saying, and trees, and you can walk around there. You know what I'm saying, and they have shows there now. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. And so land ownership is very important. If it wasn't important, the big guys wouldn't be trying to get your land.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get calls and thing in the mail all the time from my house, man. I ain't never.
When did that start for you, Dre?
It's been starting for some years now.
For real?
Yeah, some years now. Calling me and texting me. You know what I mean? And sending me stuff in the mail. You know what I mean? I just throw everything in the trash. I just block them numbers. I ain't trying to hear from people. He ain't taking my house. He ain't getting my house.
Let me say hi to Rob. Hi, Rob. How you doing, brother? Good.
Irene's here too. Irene here too.
What's going on?
It's good to see both of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Yo, I was talking about land and ownership. We kind of got a little off topic. We started talking about the gentrification of my area in Philadelphia, period. But let me talk about my land and why I got it. Like for a very long time, right? For a very long time, up until my 40s, I never had a real home of my own. You know what I'm saying? When I was young, I had a home for 10 years. From my birth up to 10, I got sent to Milton Hershey. That home disappeared altogether. And every time I came back home, I never knew if I was going to be in the same place. So, I never really had a home. You know what I'm saying? That I can really say I grew all the way up in, except for like the boarding school. But even after I graduated, I always lived in someone else's house. You know what I'm saying? In someone else's apartment. I always lived with someone. It was never mine, and after, a few relationships and a lot of lost money, a lot of losses and being kicked out of places that I paid for myself, you know what I'm saying? I said, you know what? It's time for me to, stop this. I got to do something. And me and my brother, my twin Andre, we were having a conversation, and he was going through the same thing pretty much. And we made a pact. We was like, yo, man, we're going to get our own houses and never be kicked out again. And
I had my house, man, but I gave it up for my second wife because her house is paid for. Never give up my house.
And I was like, and he learned his lesson. He was like, I'll never give up my house again. I said, I'll never give up my house. I'll always have a place to stay. So, at the time I had left my girl and I was living in an efficiency and they were robbing me blind with electricity. They had the whole house was hooked up to me. You know what I'm saying? But I never paid electric bill. So I didn't know, you know what I'm saying, that how high electric bills were in the wintertime. I was asking everybody, but no one would give me a straight answer. But Andre was like, they robbing you, though. They robbing you.
I said, don't pay your rent, bro.
So I stopped paying my rent. I stopped paying my rent, and I saved up my money so I can move out, right? So the landlord said, why you ain't paying? I said, because I don't want to. I said, and plus the electricity is too high. So I'm going to pay that bill, and I'm going to pay you the rest opposite of that bill. And he ain't say nothing. So, he knew that I knew, but, there was nothing he could do. So after I moved out, well, the whole thing was me to get out of there. And I finally found this house which nobody wanted me to get. So I said, I didn't care because I loved the location. I loved the fact that there was a train and there's at least 4, 5, about 6 buses that I can catch around here. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to not take that house. And I finally got the house And let me tell you, after I got the house, it was like heaven, yo. I didn't have to worry about what anyone had to say or what was going on in my house. It was just me. I could do anything I want. I had my own home. And I didn't really know the value of it probably until like 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Because 2 years, well, maybe 6 years ago, because I got sick. And you know, when you're sick and things happen, you worry about your financials because you might run into financial problems. But the one thing that I knew was that I didn't have to worry because I had a home. You know what I'm saying? I had a home. Everything was already paid. My bills was paid more. You know, it's cheaper to have a mortgage than it is to rent. And my mortgage was so, I mean, it's crazy low. It's impossible low. It's ridiculously low. You know what I mean? So I live a decent life. You know what I mean? I could do what I want. I could go on vacation if I want. I could just get on a plane. I could buy a car if I want. I can do a lot of things I want because I made a smart decision with, and now if I get a girl and she leave, she leave. She lived so. Bye. You know what I'm saying? I still got my home, man. I ain't losing nothing. You know what I mean? So I'd rather lose a person than a life. You know what I mean? A whole life of you know, buying this and buying that, building up someone else's place, and then you got to leave. You know what I mean? So you know, that was the main thing I like about having my own home. I don't have to worry about anything outside of what I'm doing. You know what I mean? It's kind of nice. But I'll let y'all speak. You know what I'm saying? Don was on next. Don was here next. So I'm going to let Don speak if he wants to speak on, like, you know, land, ownership.
I'm in the process, so I'm going to pass it off. I'm in the process right now, so I'm going to pass it off to somebody else.
No, but what? Here's the question, Don. I know you're struggling with the housing thing, right? Did you think it would be as hard to get a house as it is now, as you do now? Do you think it would be this hard?
Yes and no. Yes, because it's a process. No, because I didn't realize how fast stuff gets bought up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's a yes and a no. You know, like you find something you like, and all of a sudden somebody to bid on it is gone.
Yeah, it's definitely seller's market right now. It's not a buyer's market because right now we're back at the height of the market, you know, and that's like, I just sold my house, you know, like, well, technically on the 15th, I officially sold my house. It was supposed to be yesterday, but it's now on the 15th. But, and I sold because, like, literally, well, Carmen and Andre were here. You saw my house. It's not in pristine condition. And I got offered $365,000 for my house as is.
Wow.
If I were to fix it up just to get it to like selling condition, and that means like painting the whole house. I already had to replace the deck and the fence and the roof last year. But if I would have, like, I still had to do like the kitchen and floors and painting the whole house. So we're talking probably putting in another 20 grand. So putting another 20 grand to get it just to sell it, where I would have gotten 400 to 410,000. As is, I have no closing costs, no realtor fees, no inspections, no of this, and all that would have totaled probably about 30 to 35 grand. So I'm like, I'm talking about a difference of $5,000 for not having to do anything else, just to sell it. Give me 1 second, someone's knocking on my door.
Yeah, I remember she was telling me about that.
Yeah, well, you know, when I went to buy my house, man, it was crazy, man. It was crazy. I had a realtor that was horrible. I did most of a, huh?
That was our first experience. We had the first realtor we had was terrible. And I mean terrible because Every time we show him my house, he act like he didn't want to take us to go see it. So we immediately got somebody else.
But it's like I would recommend that you wait till January if you're looking to buy. Because I think just come the start of the new year, the worst time to buy a house is during the holidays. Oh no, sorry. The best time to buy a house is during the holidays because nobody wants to be selling their houses. And right now, like between Thanksgiving and Christmas, if you're looking to buy right now, that's your window because even the houses that I've been looking at to buy in Florida, I've noticed in this past week, they've all dropped like 5, 10, up to $20,000 drop just this month. So it's like I see already for a price, and the ones I want to buy are going down. So that was like I'm in the pocket right now if everything works out well because I want to try to bid on a new house before Christmas.
That's what's up. That's what's up. But I got a question. This is a real important question, right? Who's the body next to you, y'all? Who is that?
Salsa dancing.
Who's that? What's your name, cutie?
This is a land.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you because hold on for a minute. I'm gonna mute everybody.
My name is Alyssa.
Hold on, now unmute yourself.
My name is Alyssa, everybody.
Alyssa?
Yes, sir.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Alyssa. Hey, sexy. I like sexy black women. Yes, Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, you know what? When I bought this house, there was like the seller wasn't willing to do a lot of things, and I had to get them to get a new heater. I had to get them to fix the roof. I had to get them to do a few things. And then after I was about to buy the house, then someone called me up saying there's a law that won't allow me to buy the house after a certain date. I have to wait a certain date. And then, after that, I had a call from the bank and they told me that law is not real anymore. It's outdated. Now you go and get the house. So I went and got this house, it's not easy, man. It's not easy buying a house. Buying a house it's really emotional.
Jump through some hoops.
They say it again?
You gotta jump through a lot of hoops.
Yes, a lot of hoops.
Somebody is dotting all your I's and crossing all your T's because, especially when you're signing away, if you're getting a loan, couple $100,000 loan, you want to know what you're getting for that amount of money.
Yes.
It's actually going to be coming out of your pocket.
Yeah, mine can be crazy scary.
When they give you all that paperwork, they claim it's English, but it's not English for the average person.
Mm-mm. Nah, you pretty much sign your life away. It's crazy, and there's all these laws sometimes you don't know about that you learning while you buying your house.
Now you gotta make sure you get the right loan too, because there's so many different types of loans, and you have to make sure that you're getting the proper one for you. Like when I bought my house, it was at the height of the market back in 2007. They were giving everybody loans. Everybody. Doesn't matter what your credit score was. Everybody was getting a loan, but that's when all the banks were doing all that shifty things because the more they bought out, the bigger their bonuses were, and then the whole market crashed 2008. Yeah. So I bought my house 2007 at the height of the market. 2008, I'm already negative equity. Negative equity. My house was valued less than what I paid for it. Thank goodness. 14 years later, I should come out $100,000 ahead, but I was worried for a while because it took forever just to get back to what I actually paid for the house. I didn't get back to what I paid for the house till like 5 years ago.
For real?
But 5 years, the market has been going up and up and up.
Yeah.
But I just have a feeling, things that go up must come down. And then that also goes to the whole gentrification thing. You're talking about Philly. When I was in Philly, I saw all these neighborhoods boarded up, blah, blah, blah. And then you go 2 blocks over, you have like these freaking townhomes that are like immaculate. Like, what's going on? When I went to Baltimore, it was the same concept, and it was like miles and miles of houses that are just
Mm.
boarded up or burnt down, or I'm like, and you're right. All these homeless people here, it's like, where do they all come from? Did they live in these houses? Did they not leave? Are they coming from other towns? But it is to depreciate the value of that property so that the people that have money to buy houses at face value can buy it dirt cheap. So why can't we benefit off of that or piggyback off of that? I want to go and buy a plot of land for 10 grand and build myself a $500,000 house on it. Why not? You know what I
Why
mean?
not?
Spend 100,000 to get a $100,000 home, because that's what they're doing right now. All these houses are all tear downs. We know that. So eventually, all they want to do is just sell the land.
Yeah. Well, for me, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with them coming in and buying up the land. That doesn't bother me. My problem is, why is the government involved, and why are they allowing, or why are they playing with the law? You know what I'm saying? To take over poor people's places. You know what I'm saying? These houses are where poor people own these houses. You know what I'm saying? Why are you making it even easier for someone who has money to take my house? Basically,
It happened in New Orleans, man. And it happened in New Orleans when when Katrina came.
That's right.
They came in and they took all the houses. Like, wait a minute, I own this house. This is my house. So they had to pay all those people like $500,000 a piece.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But land is ownership is important, because renting, you're not investing in anything. All you're doing is giving that man all your money. Period.
For somebody else, yeah. And if you
and you're making their land more valuable than your own. You know what I'm saying?
For rent, but at the end of the day, you have the option of whether you want to sell that. You have your equity that builds up your credit. You have a financial portfolio, and I also, on top of that, I've never been a landowner. I've just acquired land in the Dominican Republic. I still have no idea what I'm going to do with it, but it kind of feels good. Like, it's not cash in hand, but it can be.
You can lease it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You lease
That's where
it.
the money is.
You build on it. Don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but like I said,
It's yours and it's an asset.
right. It's an asset. It's something. So, I mean, regardless of whether you have to invest, go in with somebody, $100 a week, I highly recommend owning your own. Be careful when and where you want to own your own, because that can you could screw yourself over if it's the wrong timing as well. Like I said, out of the market a year later, I got screwed. So fortunately, it wasn't a short-term thing. It was my home. So been here long enough that I made that money back and then some. So you just got to be careful. If you're going to buy your house, is this your forever home? Then yes. Doesn't matter what it is. If you're going to be there forever, then go for it.
Yeah, well, it was good about his generational wealth, because you can pass that down to the kids. The house is already paid for. Then they got it made in life because they don't have a mortgage already. So everything they do is they could buy more property, or they go to college, you know what I mean, and help them out, become whatever they want. House still paid for. Now, once they get a great job, leave out of the house, buy another house, and then rent that house out, make money. Then when their kids get older, they can live in a house. So it's generational wealth, and it just keeps on going on, so that's the main thing you want for your property, so you keep on getting passed down and everybody making money, so, and that's a good thing. Plus on your taxes, man, you get more money back on your taxes when you own your own place. So that's another thing. And like what I used to do, what used to do is
payment. That's good. Taxes, woman owner's insurance, it's all included in monthly payment. That way you're not worried about paying this bill. It's one payment.
And I know some people used to get the home equity loan, and they would buy a brand new car, they would take out a home equity loan to pay for the car. That way, they would is quote like not right, but some people would do that and they would get that back on their taxes, because if you take out a regular loan from the bank, you can't put that on your taxes. But a home equity loan, you can put that on your taxes. So no much used to buy cars, whatever they was getting, they would always take a home equity loan out, take it, claim it on their taxes. Then when it was done, it was done. Or they just fix their house up too. So, you know what I mean? Might be able to fix the house up and get a car or do whatever. But all that was they claim that on their taxes, So that was one thing a lot of people were doing that. So
you know what, man? When you mentioned generational wealth, Dre, I remember when we were young, right? When we were young, I had a coworker, right? She's a black female. I remember she said that she had her own house. I was like, what do you mean you have your own house? She was like, yeah, my parents left it to me. And all I could think is how much rent I was paying. You know what I'm saying? At that time, rent was at that time in the about 500-600 area. I was paying about $550 in rent, right? And she was like, I don't have rent. Like, I was like, can you imagine being like in your 20s, having your house handed down to you, and you don't have to pay for nothing except for bills?
Yeah. And I know some people would do that. They would take their 401k, they would max out because they didn't have a mortgage. So by the time they got older, I know some of my friends, and some of them got married, they had over $1 million in their 401k by the time, after 30 years at the gas company. They were married. You know what I mean? So
people don't realize how important like that is, man. Look, especially in our community. In our community, a lot of people rent. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want the problems of having a house and having to fix it. But I'm like, but being in this house, I learned that that's not really a bad issue, because look, I've stayed in places where I was renting and they just did not take care of the place. You know what I'm saying?
Also, there's something break.
And I was at their mercy, you know what I'm saying? And I can remember saying, oh my God, I gotta get out of here. And I remember like thinking, but they have my money, you know what I'm saying? They have my money to exit out of here. I did I was pretty much under the, I was kind of, they had me by the neck, they had me, you know what I'm saying? Everybody knows there was nothing I could do except for either leave, you know what I'm saying? Or take them to court. And I really didn't know anything about going to court and all that kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying?
The only reason I did, because the gas company, they told us what to tell the customers. Like, put your money in escrow, don't pay the rent. You put your money in escrow until they fix it. If they don't fix it within like 3 months, then you save up enough money, you can just move out. They can just be gone.
Yeah, I didn't know that at that time. I was just a young boy. And one thing that they don't teach you, this is my problem, they don't teach you about in school. Like there's things in school that they don't teach you about that don't make sense. Why don't they teach you how to live out when you grow up? Like, how come they don't teach you how to buy a house?
No life skills in school.
Because big business, man. That's the politics, big business. Because if you know that,
a lot of people don't know that the schools were made and intended for warehouse workers. Think about it. That's how schools are. They're like warehouses, and people go to school every single day. You have assigned seats. You got assigned classes. Do the same thing every single day.
My thing is, they need a new curriculum that includes financial, like some type of financial, you know what I'm saying, classes, so that people can actually learn how to keep their books in order. You know what I'm saying? Learn how to pay the bills and learn how to buy a house, learn the value of having property. I think they're afraid to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because if everybody learned,
they want workers. Schools breed workers. They don't breed entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm. But there's the thing, right? It doesn't matter if you're a worker or entrepreneur. If you like have a house that's like wealth you could pass on. You know what I'm saying? So no matter what kind of
mentality is different though.
exactly.
Your
So,
mentality is different.
my thing is, we're not taught. We're not taught by our parents. At least we weren't. We weren't taught by our mom to buy a house. You know what I'm saying? We weren't taught by society, period, to buy a house. You see it on TV, but we weren't really taught the value of a house and what that really means for a young man.
They don't want you to know that kind of stuff because then, you know what I mean? The rich ain't gonna be rich. If everybody knows all these things, you know what I mean? About credit cards, not spending them up, about all that stuff, and your bills, don't have your bill money and your fund money in the same account, you know what I mean? Because now you're always short, and now your stuff is bouncing. Bank's making that, and now you got to pay the bank an extra $30 for each bounce check. They ain't gonna tell you all that because that's how these
I was
motherfuckers
gonna
making.
say, they don't even teach you how to balance a checkbook at school.
Yeah.
But I'm like, here's my thing. I think they're doing it. I don't think they're doing it on purpose. I think they're doing it because there's no need to. Like, no one says, listen, these kids need to know how to balance, but they know how. But they're used to they leave that to the parents, and the parents are dropping the ball, man.
I think, Aaron, if no one's being taught, it's not good. The only way it is, the only reason I know about it, because I met people in my job, and then I told her that. But if no one teaches your parents, how are they going to know?
I know that's what I'm saying. So what I think is if there's a way that we could get schools to start teaching financial things, so that when kids in the house.
I gotta go, guys.
Sorry. All right, man. Thank you. Thanks for coming by. We appreciate you.
You're very welcome. I'll see you next time.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yo, Rob, man, you've been sitting here quiet, bro. You know what I mean? We ain't ignoring you, bro. Go ahead. If you want to say something, go ahead and say what you got on land and ownership.
Look, I know the importance of it. Unfortunately, I'm going to be the black sheep of this conversation.
Okay.
And I bought my first house in 2006. And so as the young lady just mentioned, that was a very bad time to purchase a home. My house was at the top of the bubble. This was a regular row house in Upper Darby. Way more money than it should have been, but we were kind of on a desperate tip because we were having our second child. It's like my son is now 15, was literally about to be born. So we needed a house real bad. We were moving out of a rental, and this was our first house, so we were so excited. And then a couple years later, that bubble burst, and that, like the young lady just said, we were underwater. The only difference is like we were tens of thousands underwater, and it was like I was like, and the neighborhood sucked. So it's nothing worse than being in a bad neighborhood, underwater house. Oh yeah, by the way, I had adjustable rate mortgage. Yeah, I told you I was gonna disappoint y'all, man. Straight up, like
straight up predatory loan.
Straight up predatory loan. I was so stupid. Like I consider myself a pretty bright guy at times. I was so stupid. Like they literally, I was so desperate at the time.
That's how they get you.
They didn't mention the whole adjustable rate till at the very end when you're sitting across about to get your keys, that they're like dangling in front of you. Oh yeah, by the way, this loan is adjustable. All you gotta do is just refinance in a couple of years. You'll be great. Tried to refinance, didn't work. My mortgage, and again, this is 2006, so it jumped to like, $1,400. I know that's not a lot, but my salary back in 2006, that was a hurt piece. And so, what did you start off with though?
What did you start off with? And it jumps. What did you start off with?
Loan percentage wise, or just the payments?
The payments.
The payments started, I'm gonna say about 1,100 or so.
Okay.
Which was doable at the time. Like we weren't balling, trust me. We was not eating lobster and steak every night, paying $1,100 mortgage, but it was at least doable. Once it jumped to 1,400, it was like, you'd be surprised how much $300 extra a month can do to you. You know what I'm saying? And by that point, I
The
think
market crashed.
the market crashed. We had our last child at that point, so finances got stretched even more. I think with that third child, that was around the time I had my wife stay home because the kids' ages were so far apart. They weren't in the same daycare and all this other type of stuff. So that's when I started doing my second job, doing security. And so it wasn't, I mean, even, my second job just wasn't enough to make up for my wife's income, even though we did save on childcare and stuff like that. It got bad, but you start talking. I sat down with all these banking specialists, and they're going through how much you're spending on food and all this other type of stuff. It's so crazy. This one woman was like, "I noticed you didn't put anything down for." Hold on for a second. What was that place that the woman thought we paid for? That the woman said, "How much do you put down for people to come and clean your house?" I was like, "I said, what do you think this is?" Yeah. I was like, "What do you think this is?" I said, "If I'm struggling to pay a mortgage, what do you think I'm paying somebody to come clean my house for a couple $100 on the side?" I said, "We clean our own house," but that was what the lifestyle they were used to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't never had nobody come clean my house so much. And then it got crazy. Man, at some points, like when I would fall behind to catch back up, they really didn't want to go through the whole taking my house thing. So it's like, all right, if you just pay $2,200 a month for a couple months straight, that can kind of catch you back up. And it was a long, stressful time, you know what I'm saying? Because the only thing that saved us at that time was that we were able to hire an attorney to represent us for the whole predatory lending thing.
Yeah.
So I was able to refinance. My mortgage went to 14.4%, which is insane. But
For a house?
Yes.
Look, the struggle is real. I'm telling you, there's no
They're
joke.
like a credit card.
Like a department store credit card at that. They was able to negotiate it down to like
A fixed rate.
At like half of that. But here's the thing. All right, so everything, my mortgage jumped down to, something affordable. But then, man, they took the company that represented the bank. They took like all their lawyer fees and stuff like that. And I didn't know they could do this, but they put it on top of the mortgage.
Tack it at the end of the mortgage.
They tacked it at the end of the mortgage. So even though I was refinanced at a lower rate, it still ended up being like a lot of money. And I lived in the house for 10 years. I kept the fight going, and I tried to sell it, and it was just, I was too underwater. You know what I'm saying? So I had to walk. And
You know what's funny?
What's
What
that?
some of did, one guy, what he did was he kept on paying his mortgage on time and everything. Even though he knew it was all bad, he went and bought another house and then foreclosed on that house. Like after the bubble was, and Obama came in, I think about a year or two later after that. What a lot of people started doing, they kept on paying their stuff so the credit would be all right.
Right.
What they did was they bought another house at the right price because all that stuff went back to normal.
Right.
And then they started on the house and let that roll foreclosure. And that's when everything started going really bad. That's how that stuff started really going bad because people just stopped paying the mortgage. So then that's when everything just went to hell on a lot of people. And they just started, before they did it though, some of them were smart about it. They kept paying it, and then they went and bought another house and then just let that one go into foreclosure, let the bank just take it.
If I had the dough to put aside I just kept trying to save this house, and I don't know why.
Because it was your home, man.
It was my home. It was a first home. You know how Aaron said I could do whatever I want in this. Man, I built a movie theater into the basement garage. You know what I'm saying? So I did a lot of things in that house. 2 of my kids were born in that house. So, but it hurt to walk away because you got nothing, you know what I'm saying, once you walk away. But I was like, you know what? The neighborhood's trash. And I was like, you know what? I really, this wouldn't have been our dream house to live. This was like our first temporary house anyway. And I should have known better. You know, so I should have known better at this part of Upper Darby. Um, you know, so I've been renting ever since, no lie. So I left that house around 2016. I moved into a nicer part of Upper Darby when I was renting it. This was the summer, without knowing how bad the jacked up market was going to be. This was supposed to be the summer that we were going to buy out in Montgomery County, because that's where me and my wife work at. My daughter's school is out here. Like, this was going to be the summer until we woke up and it was like, wow, this market is nuts for sellers.
Crazy.
Like, people were.
But the good thing is, you know, the interest rates are like 2%, man.
That's awesome. But like Don said, like, yo, you look at this. Oh, I found this house on Trulia or Zillow. And by the time it's on the market for 2 days and it's gone. Like, by the time you place the call, it's a wrap. Like, people are putting down cash.
Bring in contract. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't care about a walkthrough. It's like,
they didn't even do a walkthrough. They were just buying right away.
I want this house because I know in 2 days, 25 people are going to be bidding on it. Straight up cash. And so we're renting still. We moved from, we're in King of Prussia now, still renting, because I felt like, all right, I don't want, first of all, I was sick of the commute. And I'm glad that we moved up here when we did, because $3.50 a gallon coming up back and forth from Upper Darby would have been a hurt
That's a lot
in my pockets, the King of Prussia. I like the fact that, you know, the Upper Marion School District is better than Upper Darby and all this other type of stuff. But man, I really wanted to, like, this would have been a house this year that we would have bought out here, that we could have been like, all right, this is it. Like, we done, unless something else blows up, we done for the remainder straight through retirement, because we probably ain't gonna do this dance anymore. But instead, we're straight up renting. Like, I look back, and growing up, everybody owned, or in our family, everybody owned. You know, your aunt's house, your I mean, my parents were separated before they got together because they both had previous marriages. We had 2 houses. My dad still had his house. My mom had the house that I grew up in. So everybody had a house. And then, you know, my brothers from Milton Hershey, they were married. They had their house. Now it's like Uno reverse card. Like, nobody owns anymore. Like, my brothers, once they, you know, came through the divorces, they're renting apartments, you know, down in Philly or Texas. Our generational house that everyone in half the family that lived in at one point just got sold like a month ago. You know, the house I grew up in West Philly got sold. Like, nobody owns anymore. And, you know, everybody's older now. And so I definitely want to buy again, because at 47, it's like, I don't want to be still paying a crazy mortgage after retirement. You know what I'm saying? So I am behind right now. If the plan were to work out the way it would, who knows? Maybe if I would have stuck it out when we first bought, and maybe my house would have gained its equity back, I wouldn't have got 350,000 like she did. You know what I'm saying? Because it was Upper Darby, man. That house was worth, maybe right now, the house is worth like $120 or something like that. You know what hurts so bad? You know what hurts so bad? The ball who bought it off of, when I let it go and it got picked up by the bank, and, you know, we sold. Don't you know that house sold on the auction for like $35,000? I was like, if I'd have just saved up I could have bought my own house back. Like, if I'd have just pocketed the whole time I was in foreclosure, if I would just pocket like every savable dime, I probably could have went back to the auction and been like, hey, you know, and I could have, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I needed to get out of there. It was a bad neighborhood, cars getting hit, people going in your car, stealing stuff or whatever. Like, I mean, luckily, like, no one broke in my crib or nothing like that. But I'm glad I'd rather live where I live now and rent versus owning in Upper Darby, just because of the condition of the neighborhood. I think if I was on my single tip, and I have to worry about getting like, I'm cool. I grew up in West Philly. I ain't worried about getting jumped or mugged and nothing like that because it's always been the hood to me.
Yeah.
Having to worry about, your kids, the schools, getting in fights. I got a cousin in Southwest Philly now that was getting jumped like almost every day outside his school. 50th and 51st and Lancaster Avenue. That little school called, I can't remember the name of that school.
I know about that area.
Yeah.
I used to live around there. I used to live on Lancaster.
Yeah.
I used to live on Lancaster.
Right.
56 in Lancaster.
I'm sorry, Parkside. Parkside, which ain't much difference.
Yeah,
I know.
But my point is, like, that could be my kids right now because of these hoodlum kids that these people be sending to school every day. So, like I said, my plan, like I know the plan. The plan is to, we got to get ourselves a crib again because renting ain't fun. Throwing all your money away at the end of each month ain't fun. Knowing that, like, man, that could be going to pay off. Like if I still was at that crib now, we'd be halfway through our 30 year. You know what I'm saying? And I'd be like, man, I can see a light at the end of the tunnel. And right now, it's like, that light is way down there. And so, like I said, which is why I try to do my little book selling thing and stuff like that as a hustle on the side. But I'm hoping she's right when that market kind of balances itself out by next year and things get a little bit calmer with the price. I don't want the housing market to drop again. I just wanted to get back to normal. And
pretty much kind of to normal around now. I don't think it's too bad. You know what I mean? But it is the seller's market. So I don't think it's too bad.
Next year.
I say next year.
I'm gonna try. I'm definitely gonna try. You know what I'm saying?
What I didn't know? They did a special on Zillow and how Zillow ruined the market as well. They said that Zillow, when they first started, they were buying houses for times what they were worth and then selling them for 3 times what they were worth. What happened was it caught up to them. So now they're losing money on selling these houses now because nobody's buying them anymore. No. Happened was that Zillow caught the market at the right time. So they bought a $175,000 house for like $300,000, then flipped it for $450,000. But now nobody's dumb enough to do that anymore. People doing their research now, saying this neighborhood's going for $200,000. Why am I buying a $450,000 house in this neighborhood when it's going? So
it depends how desperate you are. You know what I'm saying? Because
that's what it is.
If you want a house bad enough, you will overpay.
You know what it is? No, that a New Yorker will pay that because that's just crazy. For a Philadelphia person won't, because they know the neighborhood, they know the area, they know it's not that work. But a person from New York or Jersey,
I don't know
the neighborhood.
Well, also too, depending upon if they're trying to, if it's an investment property versus something where you yourself is going to lay your head down. Like if it's an investment property, I could care less what the neighborhood is going to. I just want to flip it anywhere.
All I want to do is lease it, fix it up, lease it, and call it a day. Yeah,
lease it, rent it, or whatever. But if you know yourself that you're going to be living there, like, hold up, I don't want to live down, 30th and Girard or whatever like that. It's like, man, I freaking down the bottom, so they're gonna get me. You know what I'm saying? So I look, I will be the happiest man ever.
Actually, 3rd and Girard is now like Northern Liberties. You would have been very happy,
It changed, man. It changed.
Oh my God, it changed. It's like it's better than Center City, man.
This is like what's the name? So the Willen Avenue, man. I see cafes on the corner. Like, what is a cafe doing on a corner?
Let me tell you, man. It's like right now, like this part of Philly, they're trying to make this like around like 15th and Locust and stuff like that. They're trying to change this. So they're trying to change Philly, man.
All those suburbanites are trying to flee from them taxes to come back in the city.
Suburbanites are coming, and not the hippies, what do they call it? Yuppies. The yuppies are coming. Yuppies and suburban
See,
trying to take things.
what y'all missing out on is some of them are already here. Like if you look at
Oh yeah, a lot of them are here.
these young professionals that graduates from the Temples and the Penns and the Drexels and stuff like that, especially if you're a doctor, that whole graduate hospital, like my brother lives down 17 and Christian. They're selling these singles for like $500,000, 3-story. And this way, if you work at the hospital down there, you can walk to work. You know what I'm saying? And they build up the land. I'm sorry, they build up the houses and stuff like that. And even if you live in that neighborhood 25 years, and like, no, I'm holding on to my property. I don't care. Well, then all of a sudden your taxes go up and up and up.
Extremely high.
And you can't afford to live no more.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? You have no choice but to sell because you know we used to be $1,500 or $2,500 a year. Taxes have gone up $8,000 to $10,000. What choice do you got? You know
that's why all the ones outside of Philly in the suburbs are moving into Philly. Because I wanted to move out to Philly, and then when I saw the taxes, you know, when I first bought my house, I was like, it was crazy. I mean,
the taxes are insane.
We went to a township outside of Philadelphia. We were looking at townships outside of Philadelphia.
Because I was like, okay, $4,000 a year, $7,000 a year, they ain't bad. But I always looked at the 10-year tax thing, and every year that went up $300 to $500 every year. So I was like, ain't no
the
way.
projections for the neighborhood, right?
Yeah, but no, I would look at the last 10 years of the taxes. I was looking in 2016. I would look from 2006 and see how the taxes went up here, and then that would tell me like basically how my taxes going to be after I retire. You know what I mean? Because I figured I knew I was going to retire within 10 more years. So, and every year, like pretty much everywhere outside of Philly, it was either $300 to $500 up every year. I said, ain't no way in hell. I said, you know, our family lived for a long period of time. You know, we lived long in our family, like 80s to 100. So I was like, I'm retiring at 51. That's like 30 to another 50 years. No, you know what I mean? I was like, I'll stay in Philly, and that's when everybody's going to the city now. They used to live out the suburbs, and then a whole lot of New Yorkers and New Jerseyans are coming to Philly. That's
a lot of them work here. A lot of them work here in Philadelphia, though.
A lot of them
when I worked at Children's Hospital, most of those nurses came from Jersey.
Well, you gotta think their taxes over there in Jersey are the worst. I think Jersey and California, but Jersey's like the worst. Like,
a friend of mine. Yeah, my friend of mine, he moved out of Jersey. He a cop. A friend of mine's a cop in Jersey, and he moved out of the city because the taxes are just too crazy down there, man.
Yeah, it's just. I remember Jersey back in the early '90s. It was like the best place to live in the nation because it was schools, your car insurance was real cheap. You know, life was great there. And then within like 10, 15 years, man, it was like within 10 years, it was the worst place to live. Their taxes skyrocketed and everything just went to hell in a handbasket. And that was like the worst place. They still got good schools and all that kind of stuff, but the real estate taxes are insane. And then when Trump would only let you collect up to only 10 grand, them dudes in Jersey was going crazy because some of them dudes paid like $20,000 in taxes and real estate taxes. And some people was paying, I know most was paying 14. They said, we got to move. It's like, we got to move. And a lot of people are moving out of Jersey.
A year.
California, same thing with California. You know what I mean? That's why people are leaving California in droves because it's the cost of living.
It's too, I remember a friend of mine was like, yo, man, I work at McDonald's. I make like $16 an hour and it's not enough. I was like, God dang. Making $16 an hour at McDonald's. That's not enough.
No, it's not. I don't know California.
He was like, I barely make rent. My rent's like $1,500. I was like, for what? He said like a studio. I was like, God dang.
Yeah. I remember I was there for the military, man. I remember we went to the movies in Philly. It was like, I think back then it was like $5. Over in California, it was $8.50.
That's probably a matinee, huh? That's probably a matinee.
Exactly. That was the matinee. Yeah.
Man, I specifically looked for a cheap house, yo. So specifically, I said it got to be in the hood and it got to be cheap as hell, yo. I got to be able to pay that thing without even. Look. I want to just pull out a little bit of money. You know what I'm saying? When I have to pay, that's what I wanted. I said I can't. I'm not going to buy like these $100,000 houses. My house was like 46,000. I bought this joint. Let me tell you something. I bought it and my interest was 4.25. I'm happy, man. I look, my what I pay for rent is ridiculous. Well, I pay for rent what you pay for a room like 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And that includes my insurance. I think that a lot of times people just jump out because they have to hurry and get that house, man. And like I had to do the same thing, but I was determined not to be like, this was in 2010, so I already saw what happened to the market. You know what I'm saying? And houses was a lot cheaper at the time, and I was the first homeowner. So I went to an organization, and they helped me learn how to pick houses and buy houses, and I got this one, and with the first homeowners, you get a whole lot of perks. You know what I'm saying? So
but ours is different out here, though.
Say it again.
I said ours is different out here, though.
It's different out there.
What they do is they slash your taxes for the first year. For the first year, they slash your taxes in half.
Okay, I paid my taxes for this house was $85. Yeah. That's going to change. That's going to change drastically. But by the time it does, my house will be worth some real money. And I'll be out of here. And I will find me another hood to move into. Because the hood, I'm happy in the hood, yo.
Oh, man.
I'm happy in the hood.
You know why? Because you know what to expect, man.
Yeah.
You know what to expect.
I say about Aaron's place, and I don't like where he at, but I'll tell you what, his block
it's quiet.
is great. Quiet.
Yeah.
All the neighbors work together. And if any riffraff come through, they kick them out or they pull out their guns and they get rid of them. They off the block. Like, you ain't selling no drugs on that block. You ain't using drugs on the block. They will get rid of you. They united on that. That's one thing I say about where he's at. You know what I mean? And that's what I like. Because even in great neighborhoods, some of them don't work together, so yeah.
That's
like,
because everybody mind their business, man. Some neighborhoods is like, I live in my house, you live in yours. Don't bother me, I won't bother you.
Yeah, because
you gotta be smart when you buy a house in the hood. When you buy a house in the hood, you don't just go in the daytime to look at the house. You go at the nighttime to be at the house too. Because you gotta see the way the block rolls. You know what I'm saying? You gotta see the way the neighborhood. You know how the neighborhood roll, but you gotta see how your block is like at night. What is the nightlife like? Because that'll tell you everything about whether you really want to live there or not.
But everybody who lives in the hood is not hoodish, though. That's the thing about people.
That's right. That's
Some
right.
people, they live there because they have no other choice.
Well,
some people.
The hood is a bad rap. The hood is not a bad place to live. The problem with the hood is, some people, they always put the magnifying glass on the fools. You know what I'm saying? They always want to put the magnifying glass on them. Out of the whole block, there ain't no families on my block that do hood shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they do hood shit, but they don't be outside doing dumb, hood stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like they always want to, out of 5 blocks, there might be 1 block with a whole block hood. You know what I'm saying? And so they put the whole camera on our whole black experience. This is the black experience in the hood. No, it's not. Most of us are working, man, taking care of our children and our families and the kids. It's just these fools over here who
messing up
unfortunate circumstances find themselves living up to that foolish stereotype because of what they were born into. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like the fact that they always want to show, I know 500 Black people died in Philly this year, right? But most of those people were those people. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Once they decided to let people out of prison for those charged for having like marijuana charges, this was inevitable. You know what I mean? Because the thing was, see, this is what America doesn't know about the hood and the police. The thing is, hood people are smart as shit. It's hard to catch hood people a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? Because they know the rules. They know how to hide. They know how to hide this stuff, right? So what happens is they'll catch someone on a low charge, like they'll catch them with some marijuana, but this might be a drug boss with marijuana on him. Just happened to have marijuana on when he got stopped. You know what I'm saying? And they'll put him in the prison, and it changes the whole dynamic of the hood, you know, of where they live and the people that do all because they're in prison now, so everything's changing on the outside. When they took that away, you know, and what they used to do is after they got them charges, all the charges that he could have been brought up on, you know what I'm saying? They start investigating those charges, and that's when they usually are able to put together some type of record for this person and take them to court and keep them for a while. But when they let the marijuana charges go, right, they couldn't do it no more. All that stuff is gone now. So now they was like bosses when they went in and couldn't get out or out on the street now, and now they're taking back their fight. That's what this 500. That's what this is really about. Those people that they let out of prison are trying to get that money back.
But you know, it's not even the marijuana. It was low level crimes because of
Yeah.
all that happened because of COVID. All that happened because of COVID. They started letting them out.
Yeah. I know. But what I'm saying is people are acting like they don't understand why blacks are killed. This is why. If you don't understand, this is why. This is because people are trying to take their money back from people who took it over after they left. That's why we're going through this mess. And people try to pretend like, you know, they don't understand it, and they probably don't. I don't know if they do, but I understand it. I live here. I see what happens. You know what I'm saying?
They post always on the news that, you know, it's the hood ones, but trust me, there's a lot. It ain't just the hood ones killing, having all the murders up in the city. No.
What I'm saying is the people who are involved in drugs, a lot of them are the ones causing all the murders. They're fighting over territory, most of those people. Fighting territory and feelings.
I'll be like, I don't care.
Or a woman. It's always money or a woman.
Yep.
But the dudes killing each other. But now the women be worse than the men. That's why most of them.
Yo, you saw the woman from New York? You saw the woman from New York?
I ain't hear, but I saw a little bit on it. What happened with that?
She got out of a car and was just like she was just chilling. Walked around the car and just shot a woman in the head. They'll sit on the stoop, talk to another woman. Just casually just walked up to her like nothing was wrong. And it's popped her right in the head. Like, and the worst part about it, they were just at a funeral together earlier in the day.
Yep.
Yeah, but there was a feud probably going on all that time, and she just said, "You know what? That's it."
That's what it was. That's what it was. They had some words. That's what it was. Yeah, that's how a lot of this stuff is, man. So, but the only thing, though, the one thing the property value though, like, the one thing I messed up on was when I got rid of my original house when I got remarried. You know, that was the biggest mistake I ever did for the kind of property. Got rid of my house and moved in with her, and hers was paid for, and hooked her up. Then we got divorced, and I didn't have no place to go. Well, I had a place to go, always had a place to go, but I didn't have my own no more. You know what I mean? And my house was way more money than hers. She lived in the hood, I didn't. You know what I mean? But I figured the house was paid for. We get married, you know what I mean? We'll sell the house, we'll rent the house out, get another place. Never happened. So, but then when I got this house I'm in now, I used to tell, like I was telling Aaron, because he got his a year after me. And I told him, I was like, don't think you're gonna get a house real quick. When I told him to start saving his money and everything, don't think you're gonna get a house real quick. I said, it took me a year to get my house, looking around a year. I said, because all them pictures that you see that's on these sites ain't the same when you go to the house. It's just good lighting, good pictures. When you get to that house, it looks pretty much nothing half the time than what you see on them, what you see on those sites, like Zillow and all them other drones. I say, So it's probably gonna take you a year. It took about a year. But one thing I say about this house is one owner. And let me tell you the crazy thing about that owner. It was a woman. And she wanted to buy the house here in the 50s when it first got built. She wanted to buy this house in the 50s. And they refused to sell her the house. They refused, the banks would not give her money to buy the house because she was, and they said if she get pregnant, she wouldn't be able to pay the mortgage. So she actually had to get a lawyer to sue the bank. And that's what made the bank, because it was like discrimination. That's what made the bank give her the money for the house. Yeah, and she ended up buying a house. She never had children, but she was a musician. So she taught music.
Well, that's how it was back then, man. Back then, they didn't play that with women. They didn't like women having stuff for some reason. I don't know,
Oh, power thing. Just like when all the men went off to war and all the women was doing all the factory work, building bombs, building tanks.
The guns, all that stuff, yeah.
When the men came back, they made all the women go back in the, at the World War II.
Go back home because the men are back. Yeah. I remember that.
And some of the women, some of the men couldn't, a lot of men were dead, or handicapped from war, couldn't go back. But they made sure the women didn't stay there. They made sure they got rid of all the women. They was not going to have a say. So that's what there is. So, when I think about the woman who bought this house, like all the hell she had to go through, like, all the hell you got to go through to buy a house. Sometimes it's just, it is what it is. You just got to be, have the right people, which thank God I had, good guys. So, and then I learned a lot of things about being at the gas company, going to people's houses, having them telling me stories and seeing things, what to look for, you know what I mean? And construction guys telling me stuff. So, I'll never buy a brand new house today. Never. Those cheap things, I see how they throw up like crap. I would never buy it. If it ain't old and bricks.
Yeah, it's that board mostly. It's that board and then the fake bricks on the look bricks.
Yeah. I mean, even cover with bricks. Just, cover with the what you call them? It's not brick, it's
stucco?
Yeah, siding.
Aluminum siding? Aluminum siding? Yeah.
Because I remember this young boy. I remember that white boy told me, he's like, yo, he's like, don't ever buy a house. Don't ever buy one of these new houses. That was like in the 90s when they first coming them out. He said, I can take a sledgehammer and break into your house with a sledgehammer. Just go right through the wall.
Yeah, because I remember they didn't even use wood in a lot of those houses. They used these very cheap aluminum type beams. They were really cheap looking, man. They did not look sturdy. You know what I mean?
Even today's stuff, man. I'm like, that's why when you see one of them new houses go up in flames, they go up in flames so fast it's ridiculous. Now these houses made out of brick don't go up like that, but those, they go quick, man. And people are spending like $500,000. Like I see all these houses that we had to deliver stuff to, and I had to work in over the years. These new houses in Philly that all these people are paying like 500,000, 200 some thousand, 300, $500,000, $1 million or something, and they're crap. I was like, they ain't gonna last 30 years. I said, you get one termite in there or some water damage, they're done. But this is the way it is because it's cheap. It's very cheap to build them back right up, so they don't care. You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to. It costs some money. They're really cheap to put back up. But I would never, ever be in one of those houses. They always had problems. Always had problems. Everyone I went into, it's not one of those places that didn't have some type of problem. You know what I mean? So I was like, nah. It was rare that they were pretty good. You know what I mean? I would never buy me a brand new house. Unless it's all.
These people who have the money, I guess they don't care because they figure, you know what? If I got the dough for $600,000, I can fix it up if something happens. You know what I'm saying? So they don't. They know what you know. They know that this ain't like their grandma's house from back in Philly that was, like you said, a brick house that could withstand a strong storm or whatever. But these houses with these particle board walls that you can stick your fist through. You know what I'm saying? They know their crap. They'll be the first to admit it. But it's brand new, and they've never had something brand new before. It has that new house smell. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty,
it's a pretty house. You know what I'm saying? The aesthetics are wonderful. But it's a blowaway house. It's a Vaz house, yo. hour, man. In fact, we're past the hour. And so I'm just gonna say, man, if you guys want to wrap it up, I will be very happy to wrap it up. But I love having y'all here. Does anyone have anything they need to say before I wrap this thing and put it down? All good?
Yeah, I'm pretty much good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adjourn.
Everybody got to say something good, and I'm glad y'all came. Look, man, owning property is important. What you gonna give your children if you don't got nothing? But what you got?
It ain't all my credit card debt, damn it.
Listen, all you got to offer is debt and whatever you have left in your house or apartment. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you ain't doing your job. You got to pass some wealth down so these kids have something that they can say, my daddy, my mommy, you know what I'm saying, hooked me up, and now I'm living like I could just get look. How about you give your child a house and he ain't got to pay for nothing but the bills? Do his first job, he's balling, yo. First job, balling. You know what I mean? Why not give that? You know what I mean? Don't give. I feel like you shouldn't give your children the same burdens you had. You know what I mean?
Just look at that Black family who owned that beachfront in California. You know that
they finally got it back.
They finally get all that generational wealth. The average, they had a beachfront, and they had hotels, they had everything. And they tried to come in, the Ku Klux Klan tried to come in and take it from them. They fought them all, and then the state finally undercut them. Undercut them. Said they put a new some type bridge or something. They supposed to have been building. That's supposed to have been the government thing, federal thing, and they didn't build it for 40 years. And only in the 2000 they built it. I think in the 90s or the early 2000s. I think it was in the late 90s. They finally built that thing, and now they're finally.
I think the only reason they built it was because the family was trying to take it back.
That's what it was, because the family was trying to take it back. And they built it finally after 40 years, so now they're finally getting it back. And the average house, or if they would have been able to keep that beachfront property, the average house on that thing is $1 million. It's in $1 million.
Yeah, it's beachfront. You can't, there's no beating that, you know what I'm saying?
Now they're getting their money back. Now the family, the ones that are still alive, the relatives, now they're getting all that money.
You know what? That's because America didn't know. You know what I'm saying? And plus they didn't care at that time either.
They knew. They knew because that place was
mad. Man, think about it. This Black family is getting all this wealth.
Yeah.
Oh hell no.
And they just Black people did that too. They did it to all the poor mothers that was coming up.
They did it to you if you couldn't afford to have somebody represent you. They took your stuff.
They took your stuff. That was pretty much how it was.
Plain and simple. And it was very easy to do it to Black people because we definitely didn't have anybody to represent us back in the day. But now that we got lawyers and doctors, now they're trying to say, you know what? Maybe we should leave them alone. Give them back their stuff because they're smart enough to sue the shit out of us now. And that's why they want us educated. That's why they took our schools away from us and gave us this piece of crap in the hood schools, you know what I'm saying? That's why they took, and then try to tell us it's our fault that there's no money in our school. You know what I'm saying? They've done it, and they've done it with joy.
And to the poor, having a lot with us, but they haven't for them poor whites, for Latinos haven't done anything for the poor because you know why? Because we were the workers. So
and land and this is why I did this one, because land is important. It's so important that they'll steal it from the government. Will steal it from them. That's how important it is. That's how valuable it is. And that's why more Black people need to buy their own land and their own apartment buildings and their own, you know what I'm saying? Because now we know. We didn't know all this stuff back in the day. You know what I'm saying? But now we're learning that, you know what? We knew about gentrification, but we didn't know how big it was. We knew about, you know, about our relatives having to pay like more money for less, you know what I'm saying, than what everybody else was paying who wasn't an African American, you know what I'm saying? We
in
knew
San
about that
Fran,
stuff, but
you
we
know,
didn't know that it was a government issue thing. You know what I mean?
Government issue and big business, because in San Fran, there's some neighborhoods in San Fran I remember that you can't have a corporate business in it. It has to all be like family owned. And I
Yeah.
remember a corporate business trying to get in there. They were, I think it was a Gap, and they would bust the windows out all the time. They stayed there 5 years. They finally got rid of them. They would just bust the windows up, put fires in it all the time, and they finally got rid of them. But their place is all about like, you know, no, there can be no change. You know what I mean? It's got to be entrepreneurs, but no change like McDonald's or Best Buy. You know, all that, none of that can be in that
Yeah,
neighborhood.
no chain stores. They all gotta be mom and pops.
Mom and pops, and so the money stays in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? The money stays in the neighborhood. And that's what I like the most. The money
That's
stays.
what we need to do in Philly, man. We need to look. If we actually got together and say, "Listen, y'all can't come here and just take over our neighborhoods," we will have a say. But you know, it's hard to get people together.
They kind of do, because that's why they had those council meetings with people, but they don't advertise that on your door. You got to go find out for yourself where these meetings are held. Company. Yeah, you gotta find out for yourself so that you can go to and you can tell the council, hey, we don't want this business in our neighborhood because all it's gonna do is take.
They don't let people know. They said, well, we did have a meeting, but no one showed up because they ain't tell nobody. They just schedule it, put it in the paper, which people ain't reading pretty much today, or put it somewhere, but not a lot of people want to read it. You know what I mean? But they ain't going door to door. Like your representative ain't putting flyers in your door telling you there's gonna be a meeting for the town. Only time they do stuff like that is
on you.
job is on the line. That's the only time you're gonna know about something is when their job is on the line. You know what I mean? They'll come knocking the door to door. So that's how you keep your property value and everything. Because we know back in the 70s, like family businesses owned the stores and all that kind of stuff that was in your neighborhood. You know what I mean? So the money stayed in your neighborhood, you know, and then they finally just broke that all up, you know. So and then that's it. You know, but now, you know, a lot of stuff don't stay around anymore because now with technology and everybody, people can go, if anyone can go to college now, a lot of the kids don't want to do the stuff that their parents did. So that's why a lot of these businesses are going out of business now too, because the parents are just too old. They're just too tired, too old to keep it up, and the kids don't want to do it. The kids are there just lazy, so they ain't trying to get up every day, you know. So,
Depending on what it is.
Listen. I really want to go further, but I just saw Rob yawn and shit, yo.
I coughed. I didn't yawn.
Let's end this, yo.
I just coughed. I'm always a little bit sleepy. I don't get sleepy till like 9:30.
Yeah, I'm tired too, so I'm gonna catch you guys later, man.
All right, I don't want y'all drunk talking on my show. You know what I'm saying? Drunk and shit. You trying to keep your eyes open? No, y'all, no. Go to sleep. Have a good night, yo. I'm glad you came. I love all of y'all, and I appreciate you showing up because you know what? Without you, I would just be here talking. You know I can do it, but you know I don't want to do that. All right, so I'm saying good night, man. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming by.
Y'all take it easy.
You know, see y'all next week if you come by. Y'all take it.